Well, that is that then. India have qualified into the Super 4, beating Hong Kong by a big margin. They've won by 40 runs. Of course, Hong Kong won the toss, put India into bat first. India scored 192 at the end of their 20 overs. Suryakumar Yadav was brilliant with that 68 not out. Virat Kohli got some good time out there in the middle. KL Rahul couldn't really get going. Then came Hong Kong's batters and they did try and make a game out of it, especially at the start. Babar Hayat was very good with the bat but really lacked support at the other end. At the end of their 20 overs, Hong Kong 152 for 5. India winning the game by 40 runs. Ravindra Jadeja spectacular with the ball, as was Bhuvneshwar Kumar. You're watching Cricbuzz Live. My name is Tanay Tiwari. I have with me Harsha Bhogle and Bhattacharjya. Welcome, gentlemen. And this was a foregone conclusion for a while now, actually.
It had better be. If India is playing Hong Kong and you have serious intentions of winning a World Cup, it better be a foregone conclusion. India should have emerged from this with a few more positives, I thought.
Yeah.
But I think India emerged with a couple of worries. KL Rahul, definite worry at the top.
Absolutely.
And Avesh Khan, I think, is getting to be a worry now. I was a little disappointed with Arshdeep. I hold him in very high esteem. But the ball wasn't swinging for him today. And it didn't look like the batsmen were worried about facing them.
Yeah.
So who was going to get the wickets today? See, Chahal's gone wicketless. Jadeja and Chahal closed the run rate. But I think Arshdeep and Avesh, I think you wanted a little bit more.
Yeah, correct. And Virat Kohli had to fill in that one over. Of course, Bhuvneshwar only bowled 3. But we'll get to those concerns a little later. But India were, as you said, Harsha, they came into this game with a set of objectives.
Yeah, but there were positives as well. There wasn't only negatives. There were positives.
Yeah.
There were positives. I think Virat Kohli's time in the middle.
Yeah.
Virat Kohli's time in the middle was a definite positive. But we'll know whether it was a positive in the next game.
Yeah.
To see how he picks up from this game. And Suryakumar Yadav just showed, I think this is how we play T20 cricket. He just went for it. So he was a huge plus.
But the one positive right there on that bowling card has to be Ravindra Jadeja, Joy. The way he bowled. And we've seen this now with Jadeja. Even if there's a hint of turn, if the ball is stopping just a little bit, he can be very effective. And he was very, very effective today.
No, absolutely. Firstly, have a bigger ground. I mean, Dubai is a slightly larger ground than most, which means you get a little bit more protection as a spinner. And he plays conditions very well. Absolutely, as you said, if the ball is just not doing it. And what he does is he's smart enough not to want to turn the ball too much in conditions like this. He lets the ball stop. He brings it on faster. His variation is not so much in his turn, just in his pace and where he's bowling. And I think he's a very smart bowler and also such a brilliant fielder. I mean, he had one run out, would have got a second also, just missed by a whisker. But that's what he gives you in the field. And that's the thing, that you can't depend on people like Ravindra Jadeja and Chahal giving you wickets if the batsmen aren't really going for it. Unfortunately, under these conditions, they chose to play them out. What they can do is just close out the run rate. I think we needed some more wickets from the younger fast bowlers.
The other thing is, if Jadeja always bowls 4 overs, you always get 5 fielders outside the ring.
Yes.
Because he'll bowl them so quickly, you never have over rate problems.
Exactly. That's
right. That is true. That is true now with the new rules. But they don't call him Sir Jadeja for no reason. He's so smart on these tracks, Harsha. He can really tie opposition.
So I can imagine tomorrow's tweet.
Yeah.
Remember the time when they said you needed 2 runs to win a 1 ball and he won it with a ball left? In one of those CSK games?
Yeah.
Only Sir Jadeja can win with 1 ball. 2 runs to win a 1 ball and he's won the game. Today, it was a no ball.
Yeah.
But only Sir Jadeja can get a wicket on a no ball.
He does it in the field, he does it with the ball.
I love the way he took his time, set himself up. He was so certain he's going to hit the stumps. He's just too cool.
We were talking about this on the com box as well, and I think the batter who sees it, and Zakat Khan in this case, would go back and see, and in slow motion, it really looks demeaning on the batter because it's like he's tempting the batter, go take the run, because he takes that extra second and then throws it. He's so confident in his arm.
The ball was so close to him. Being 2 yards outside the crease was a crime. Being 1 yard outside the crease was a crime because you played the ball to the best fielder in the world, to his left, to his throwing arm. He's getting a good bounce. What are you doing outside the crease? They would say about Jonty, didn't they? They would say about Jonty, if you played in that area, you didn't think of a run.
You were telling us a very interesting story about Ravindra Jadeja in a commercial where he would just have his back against.
I was actually shooting with him. I was actually shooting with him where someone threw a ball at him and he turned around from wherever he was and hit the stump, then ran to the next point where someone else threw a ball, he turned around, hit the stump, and he was basically turning around, hitting blind. And it's amazing how often he was hitting it.
It's crazy. That ability, only Sir Jadeja can have. Of course, who else? With the kind of rocket arm that he has and with the ball as well, I think we saw some sort of a variation today. He was bowling with his palm open. We'll see perhaps more of it come the T20 World Cup as well. But yeah, he was bowling perhaps with that open palm.
Look, if he can give you anything more than 2-3 overs, then it's a big plus. Big plus. Jadeja in form, giving a 4 overs is a big plus.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jadeja and Chahal, problem is they are not your worries. And if you're looking out to who to try out, it's almost certain that both those guys have already got their boarding passes to Australia. The question is the fast bowlers.
Yeah.
And there you're going to have a few questions. Look, Bumrah is going to step in here, definitely.
Correct.
So there's no doubt that one place is gone. I think what they were trying to do is figure out whether Avesh Khan, what Arshdeep and Avesh Khan can do for them. And if both of these people are slightly doubtful, does Mohammad Shami come back into the mix?
Oh, yes.
Because that's a big question. Remember, in the 2015 World Cup, it's a different format, but he was our top wicket taker in Australia and bowled really well.
Bowled really well in the 2019 World Cup as well. Bowled fantastic in the IPL. In fact, my original thought when I was thinking some months ago was Bumrah Shami. Depends on how well Bhuvi is bowling at the time, or Deepak Chahar at that time. Arshdeep, of course, fought his way in through some wonderful performances. But look how well he bowled for Gujarat Titans.
Yeah, correct.
Regularly giving you wickets with him and Umesh Yadav were regularly giving their teams wickets with the new ball. So I'm a little perplexed that. Also remember, if you want 10 or 4, he's the one who's more likely to swing his bat and connect a couple.
Yeah, correct. That too.
I mean, you don't think of a player from that point of view, but you want number 9, 10 to be able to swing a bat. So I'm a little perplexed. I'd be interested in knowing what happens if Harshal Patel turns up unfit.
That's true.
And if there's enough time for Deepak Chahar to get back into rhythm. Because at the moment it looks Bumrah, Bhuvi. Still think Arshdeep had one off day today. But I think that 4th spot.
Prasidh Krishna maybe? No? In Australia?
Yeah, maybe, but I still think if Harshal Patel is available, it will be Harshal. Otherwise, if Deepak Chahar's got his rhythm back, what do you think?
Deepak Chahar, I mean, for my money, I'd love to see Shami there, but it doesn't look like.
No, I think that ship might have sailed, because otherwise they would have played him by now.
They would have played him by now. But then again, what happens to Ashwin? Because Ashwin has specifically been taken because they're going to be big grounds in Australia. And yet, look, if they're not going to try him at all now, when are they going to try him? Because September 15th is when they have to give the team in.
Yeah. And the chance to try Ashwin perhaps was against Hong Kong. India didn't do that. But let's talk of Hong Kong for a bit as well, Harsha. I mean, we talked about India's objectives. How are Hong Kong looking at this game? Because they'll say with the ball, we were pretty much in control for a good part of that innings. Then with the bat as well, we did decently well. We scored 152 against a very decent Indian attack.
And 150 without ever looking in too much trouble. It wasn't that they were playing and missing, or it was only during the Jadeja spell that there were a few questions asked. And I think they'll be telling themselves, we just gave away too many to Sky at the end. So if we had managed to keep them down to 165, 170, we might have given them a bit of a scare. But the fact that India allowed them to make 152 will be worrisome. But listen, as we've said all along, for Hong Kong, whatever they do is a plus.
Yeah.
And they can go back very proud, saying, okay, we made 152. Yes, we conceded too many runs, but we've got 150 against a side that aspires to win the T20 World Cup.
Correct. Babar Hayat, how good was he?
Especially right at the start.
Yeah.
When he was playing those shots very easily, he looked really good.
Yeah, at least, the thing about that is if you look at how he played courageously, he played really well. Where he finally, he got stuck a little was fitness. Yeah. And that's what happens when you're an associate nation. You don't, look.
You're not a professional cricketer, right?
Exactly. You're doing another job. You don't have a dietitian like an Indian cricketer will have. You don't have a trainer, a dietitian, a strength routine which is specifically made for you in the NCA or by your IPL coach. All these, there's a lot of value to all this. And you could make out that he's just, he's hit it and he just, doesn't have the strength anymore. But look, what a performance he's made. And for exactly what Harsha was talking about, the league in the UAE. He's just gone there and said, guys, if you're not picking me, you're probably making a mistake. It's an audition for him as well.
Yeah, correct. And he's made a mark. He's made a mark with his batting, as did Ehsan Khan with his bowling. The way he bowled, the tight overs that he bowled. He's, of course, very experienced, 37-year-old. He's played against India in that 2018 Asia Cup as well. But today also, he displayed all his smarts.
No, he bowled well. There's no doubt he bowled well. The leg spinner maybe just didn't have enough tricks, though he picked up a wicket. But definitely the left-arm spinner, the Murtaza and Ehsan, I thought Ayush Shukla had his moments.
He did.
And poor Harun Harsha just got into one of the best T20 batsmen in the world in top form.
Yeah, correct. He did run into Suryakumar Yadav, and the way he was hitting them, well, you could have been any bowler on that day and he would still have tried to hit as many sixes as Suryakumar Yadav did. But let's get back to those concerns that India have had now, that we were talking about. Because the one big concern that's staring India right now in the face is that top three, and perhaps a highlighted name there is KL Rahul.
Yes, because I think if you want to play yourself in, you give yourself 18-20 balls.
Yeah.
I think 39 was a luxury. So I hope he benefits from this. As I said, as with Virat Kohli, you will see the outcome of this in the next game. But in the next game, he cannot continue scoring at 100, 105 because that will become very expensive for India. It was okay today, you're playing against Hong Kong. Even then, I think 39 was giving yourself way too many deliveries. But with Hong Kong, you knew you were going to win it. You didn't want to scare, but you knew you were going to win it. So we'll have to now see the outcome in the next game. But unlike Virat, who started to look more and more fluent as the innings went along, I don't think KL Rahul looked more fluent in the 38th ball than he was earlier. So, yeah, I hope he gets as much time in the nets as possible, as much batting as possible. Hope he gets a true surface to bat on. Though, in all fairness, we didn't look at true surface when everyone else was batting on it. It looked fine.
Yeah, correct.
No, absolutely. Again, what we were talking about, it was also intent. He was playing safe. He didn't want to get out as well. Whereas, I think at some point in time, Surya was putting himself into positions where he could attack or forcing the bowler to change his length, push it back a bit. And I think that's what Rahul probably didn't do enough. Didn't move around the crease, didn't put the bowler under enough pressure. He was playing the ball on its merits. But that's something I don't think you can do consistently anymore in T20 cricket. And my big worry is that if you look at this top three, I feel currently, and I hope things happen to change our mind over the next 3-4 days, I can't see all these three playing. I see only two of these three playing in a World Cup, really. And if you look at it that way, then Rohit Sharma picks himself. He's the India captain. There's continuity at stake. There's a lot of things at stake. Very successful captain, both in the IPL and after that. So he stays. There is between these two, really.
Unless we find the Rahul who plays those incandescent innings in the IPL from time to time.
We've got four matches, maybe four matches.
Is there a key? Just wind up KL Rahul and go, wind him up and say, show us that game, Punjab Kings versus CSK.
Yeah.
Just look at that KL Rahul. This is you, by the way. Let's put some pictures together. This is both are you. Yeah. Let's see a little bit more of that. Because every time I see KL Rahul, I think he's a once-in-a-generation player who's getting stuck somewhere. Yeah. I wonder whether he needs to shed some fear. Look, I don't know. I've not played at that level. I've not been in those situations before. But I just wonder if he needs to shed those fears and say, doesn't matter if I get out.
Yeah.
But if I can play these kind of innings 2 or 3 out of 5, then I'm still doing good enough for my side. So that's my theory, but I think we'll have to check out, because I don't know him as well. We'll have to check out the people who actually sat with him, what he thinks about.
Yeah.
And I hope next year he's not worried about the orange cap.
Increasingly, though, I mean, what you said right now about that game against the Chennai Super Kings, it does start seeming like a pattern, because it is a mindset thing. He played that knock when Punjab Kings were already out of the tournament. So that thing is perhaps somewhere, that inhibition still exists in KL Rahul's mind. As you said, Joy, that he's scared of getting out. He's
reacting to a bowler. T20 cricket, you cannot react to a bowler. If you look at AB de Villiers at his best, they talk about a 360 player ramp. No player can play a ramp after seeing the ball being delivered. You move into a particular position and if the ball pitches here, it's a ramp. If it's not, I'll play it this way. You take 2-3 decisions based on that, but you already put yourself into position because you can't reach there otherwise. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, then the bowler is in trouble. He's looking and saying, okay, he's going to try and play a ramp. What am I going to do now? What's happening with KL Rahul is saying, let the ball be delivered. Let me see on its merits where it goes. That's the cricket which maybe one-day cricket used to do, still does. Or, T20 cricket maybe 5-7 years back. Today, you cannot afford to, because the kind of scores that you get, the kind of pressure that you need to put the team under, you can't afford to react to a ball. You need to act.
He's got 3 or 4 games. Yeah. I honestly think that at the end of this Asia Cup, if KL Rahul is still playing like this, then there's a question for the selectors. Because after that, he will have 6 games at home, and you go straight into the T20 World Cup. Yeah. But can you pick him ahead of some others on the basis of where he is at the end of the Asia Cup?
And where the others are.
So he will, at the end of these 4 games, if KL Rahul has not got his rhythm back, then there is a question. I'll be very sad if that happens, because I've been a fan over the years. I just think he's capable of playing cricket at another level, as Surya is. I don't think there's a huge difference, but I'll be disappointed if at the end of these 4 games he's still there.
Well, KL Rahul, if there has to be a reset for him, it has to be very soon. But for now, India have made it to the Super Fours. They, of course, beat Pakistan and now have beaten Hong Kong. 2 wins in 2 games, 4 points. They go straight into the Super Four, which means the Friday encounter between Pakistan and Hong Kong, well, the team that wins makes it to the Super Four, sets up their encounter against India on Sunday, which is going to be India-Pakistan. I mean, Hong Kong are a good team. They've displayed some good cricket, but it's an India-Pakistan on Sunday again.
It should be an India-Pakistan on Sunday again, unless something goes really badly wrong. There's absolutely, this is a very good Pakistan side. Yeah. They perhaps were not at their best against us, but they have so much more potential at this point in time, and their bowling attack is quite at a different level.
Yeah, look, they're
the organisers wouldn't feel happy either if it
they're a wonderful batting side, except that they're a bit like India used to be, very top heavy, 1, 2, 3,
correct.
And then 4, 5, 6. But their 4, 5, 6 keep changing all the time. And so their 4, 5, 6 don't get a go for a long time. And then eventually, as we keep saying, Asif Ali has come back. They don't. I don't think they've given Hyder Ali enough chances. When I saw him some time back, he looked very impressive.
Yeah, he can hit them really
But
low.
their 1, 2, 3 batting first is a problem that if they want to win the T20 World Cup, they have to figure out what to do with 1, 2, 3 if they are... I shouldn't say 3 actually, 1 and 2. Fakhar Zaman will get runs. So but their bowling, I mean, the way they defended 140 against India was fantastic.
Superb bowling.
Too good. The bowling is in good hands, but the batters, as Harsha said. But perhaps then, can you not ask Fakhar? I mean, I know this isn't a Pakistan game, but 100%. Fakhar should open the batting?
100%.
Then Babar comes down at 3?
Or do you want Rizwan comes at
Rizwan comes at 3.
That's my view. And also he's left-handed, top of the order.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and what you have to do is that really, last match Rizwan played like a sheet anchor.
Yeah.
So that's really Babar's role, because Babar is capable of hitting cricket shots and surviving and playing a sheet anchor on one side. So the problem is if both of them playing at that pace, that puts Pakistan into a little bit of pressure, which is what happened in the last match. Babar went early, Rizwan decided to drop anchor, and then his scoring rate forced the other side to really start taking risks. And that's something they'll have to watch out against.
You know, they bat so deep, he doesn't have to bat like that.
He doesn't have to.
They bat quite deep. Yeah. Someone like a Shadab, who's a very fine batsman, is batting at 6, 7. They don't need to bat like that. But that is a concern for Pakistan batting first. They will want to bat first against Hong Kong and play free-flowing, get to 200. Bat first, get to 200, unlock something over there, get to 200. Because their template when they're batting first, or whenever they play, their template is to play 150 games because they've got such a good bowling side. The bowling side can get the opposition, keep them down to 140, 150. Or 160, whatever. So that is how they have been winning games. But I'll tell you something, if Shaheen Afridi's knee is not fit in time for the T20 World Cup, they're going to really struggle.
Until this point, all Pakistan fans were very happy.
Much as I like Naseem Shah, they talk very highly about Dhani. I've not seen enough of Dhani. Yeah. I've seen the odd game in the PSL, I've seen the odd game here. But Haris Rauf on the big day can sometimes be a little expensive. Hassan Ali can be expensive. I think Naseem Shah is going to be a fantastic cricketer, but he's very young. So without Shaheen Shah Afridi, they're going to struggle.
Well, that's a point of concern and a point of debate for another day.
They sent him to England, have they?
Sorry?
They sent him to England to get specialists.
Yeah, they have. Yes.
Which causes me to fear that it may not be as a little worse than they think.
All right, so we've made Group A, everyone happy, India happy, Hong Kong happy, and now Pakistan happy as well. Now it's time to turn our gaze to Group B, where this is a potential knockout game. Sri Lanka play Bangladesh.
It is a knockout.
Fifth match. It is a knockout game. Yeah, actually, Sri Lanka play Bangladesh. Whoever loses goes out of the tournament. Now, out of Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, whose confidence is dented more?
I'd have to say that, Bangladesh lost, but I thought the way Sri Lanka lost, they lost the game so early. They lost control of the game so early that you have to say, Bangladesh also lost early wickets, but I'd say Sri Lanka is a bit more dented. And I feel actually they would be hurt more because they're a younger side. I think they're potentially a much better side right now than Bangladesh. Bangladesh is just looking a bit over the hill for me. I feel the old generation is just starting to finish their careers. Yeah. Great careers, though they have been Mushfiqur, Shakib, Mohammedullah. And the youngers have not, the junior next generation has not taken over as yet.
They're without the best T20 batsman at the moment in Liton Das.
Exactly.
Clearly their best. He's clearly their best. The one I'm worried, wasn't it Mohammad Naeem who played against India in those 3 games when
Asia Cup.
When they played the day-night test in Calcutta? There were also 3 T20 games around then. I think it was him who got an 80-odd in one of the games for Bangladesh. There was a young opener from Bangladesh who looked really good. I think it was him, but I'll check quickly. Yeah. But I think it was him, and he looked so impressive. but he's stagnated. When I first saw Sharma, I thought he was a really good player. He stagnated and never made it. Mahmudullah, they've always played around. Mahmudullah must be the only player of his caliber who bags especially 6 or 7. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Too low for him.
Yeah. But I'm also just as worried about Sri Lanka because there is so much ability in that Sri Lankan side.
Yeah.
You look at Charit Asalanka, you look at Pathum Nisanka, Kushal Mendes. Kushal Mendes is a serious player who's not become what he should have become. Then it's always too late for Karuna Ratne. Hasaranga is a batsman who in disguise. I don't know what he does. He's such a good batsman, but he only wants to hit every ball for a 6. And Dasun Chanaka requires his time, but they're still struggling a little bit there. There's a lot of young players who are not becoming the batsmen that they can be. You see how much they rely now in the absence of Chamira. How much they rely on 2 players, on Tikshana and on Hasaranga. I think Patirana is going to become a really good bowler, but I don't know if he's ready for it just yet. I mean, I saw how Cricbuzz went after him the other day, but it's a side that's relying on too few people at the moment.
And can that be a good news, Joy, for Bangladesh now? Because Bangladesh's batting hasn't, I mean, in the last game, they just didn't turn up, it seemed like, because they were very slow. The approach seemed outdated. Here, against this attack, can they fancy themselves?
This is a good attack. The Sri Lankan attack is not a bad attack at all. I mean, if you look at it, Hasaranga, I mean, they have genuine ability with the ball. Patirana is difficult to pick up. They're missing a genuine quick. There's no Dushmanta Chamira out there. They're missing those 2 quicks. But the point is, this is not a bad Sri, and especially in these conditions, big ground, they have excellent spinners. Okay, so they're not badly off at all. Even their specialist bowlers, as I said, take pace off the ball. They're very good at that. So it's their batting that has let them down. And what happened in both these cases? Both the teams' batting let them down, and their bowlers just didn't have enough to defend.
Yeah,
I have a feeling that the Sri Lankan batting probably, if it gets its act together, I think they're a better team at this point in time.
Okay, and they're playing on the same track as the India-Hong Kong game, so it's the same track.
So it might hold a little bit because it's very, very hot. So these tracks will become dry, become a little drier. And if the ball does grip, I mean, it's good for both sides if the ball grips a little bit. But I just think Sri Lanka's spinners have a little bit more. I know Shakib bowled well, Mehdi bowls well. But I just think that if it grips a little bit, Sri Lanka are better off.
If you look at the Bangladesh squad there as well, and if it grips on this pitch in Dubai, would they fancy picking an extra spinner? Perhaps
they already have actually. Musaddiq can bowl.
Musaddiq has, Musaddiq bowled really well.
Musaddiq can bowl.
But they also have Naseem Ahmed sitting out. Can they sit out perhaps a Taskin Ahmed and bring in Naseem Ahmed, another spinner? Or does this seem okay right now?
Who do you start the bowling with then? I mean,
Saifuddin?
Yeah, there's Saifuddin, there's Mustafizur Rahman, and then you play with 3 frontline spinners.
Yeah, you can pull Saifuddin up front. Yeah,
but the truth is that even otherwise, they've got Musaddiq and they've got Mahmudullah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So they've
have a lot of options.
What happened to Sabi Rahman?
Sabi Rahman. He's been out for a while now. I mean,
Sabi Rahman is another example of someone who you thought is going to become a really good player. Bit of a leg spinner, he was nice, aggressive batsman. Where is Sabi Rahman?
3 years. Hasn't played in 3 years.
So there's a lot of those in Bangladesh, there's a lot of those in Sri Lanka. Both teams will look at themselves and say, have we become the team that we can? If they discover that, I think both teams play to potential. Sri Lanka should win. But we'll wait and see.
You feel the same?
And there's always needle though. There's always needle. Sri Lanka versus Bangladesh. Remember after last time's Asia Cup?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah, they'll fight it out. And I think, look, my only thing is that Sri Lanka is a better team on paper for me. Shakib is a really wily old customer. He's come back as captain, and Shakib is perhaps the most polarizing person in Bangladesh cricket. Either you love him or you hate him. He's there or he's not there. I think he's probably at the end of what is a fantastic career, towards the end of a fantastic career. So he's smart enough, if he can sort of motivate the team, put it together, and for once say that, this is all it's all about. Bangladesh's problem is there are too many games off the field as well. And if they can stay on the field and they can focus on the field, they're not that bad a side. Having said that, I still say this Sri Lanka team has a lot of potential. If they sort of work to their potential, this could be a really good team in the next 3 years.
An interesting thing, you talked about the coaches. Bangladesh have a coach who they don't want. So they've got someone else in as a coach only for T20. And Sri Lanka have a coach that England don't want.
So strange things happen, yes, but Sri Lanka has the edge per our panel here. Of course, Bangladesh will meet Sri Lanka in this knockout game. Whoever loses goes out of the Asia Cup because, of course, Afghanistan in that group have already won both their games and will make it to the Super Fours. Also, I'm just saying that watch out for those glasses in the dressing room. When these two teams meet, those glasses are not safe. And then you deduct the match fees and everything, so just...
Yeah, and
keep
right now Sri Lanka needs all the money it can get, especially in foreign exchange, I have to say.
Correct.
I'm interested. There's a lot of Sri Lanka tourism advertising going on the television.
Yeah,
No, because that's the tournament was supposed to be in Sri Lanka. So when they moved it,
So they're still the home side.
they're still the home side.
host country.
That's why they played the first match as well.
Yeah,
and that is why they played the first game as well. So yeah.
And the tourism minister is Sanat Jayasuriya.
Oh,
Is he?
lovely.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that.
He's a
But
tourism
nothing saddens me more around the world than what is happening in Sri Lanka at the moment. Because any one of us who've been to Sri Lanka have come back very happy with the country we went.
Bowled over by the hospitality.
I've heard that from everyone. Perhaps everyone I've spoken
The
to.
newer generation is a bit different, but when I first went to Sri Lanka, such wonderful old world cricket lovers who just love the pure cricket lovers, very, very, very hospitable. And I don't think too much has changed since then. The newer generation is a little different, a little more in your face, a little more confident country as it was. But I would just absolutely love to see Sri Lanka back on its feet. And if there's anything, I think I hope. I mean, India is already doing a lot, but I really do hope Sri Lanka come back strong.
Yeah, to heighten those spirits, they can start from putting their name up on that points table. Group B, yes, they need to win this to make it to the Super 4. Whoever between Bangladesh and Sri Lanka wins this
Look at
game
the net
goes
run
to the
rate.
Super 4.
So the net run rate for Sri Lanka.
Yeah, and that's troublesome. That's very troublesome. That one big defeat against Afghanistan, that may come back to haunt them. So they have to win this at any cost against Bangladesh. This promises to be a cracker for which we'll, of course, be here. Now we have just one last piece of business, the one that your boy here cracked. Yes, the joy factor question. We'll first have a look at the
I'm going to
question.
put it up and you're going to answer.
Oh yes, done. Finally.
Which cricketer currently touring India with an international team made his debut at Chattogram or Chittagong, as they say, in March 2014?
It's Mark Chapman. Mark Chapman is touring India. There's an India versus New Zealand A tour going on. You know,
Hasn't he got runs for New Zealand already? Hasn't he got 100 for New Zealand? Or a big score?
Yeah.
He's played New Zealand, the senior New Zealand team as well, not just New Zealand A. Absolutely.
The son of the
Queen's Counsel. Queen's Counsel. Crown prosecutor.
Prosecutor. Tanay has a legal background. He loves these terms.
Well done, Tanay. Well done.
I've exhausted my quota for all correct answers for this year. I'm not going to give any more correct
You have to tell them, the connection obviously is the fact that he's from Hong Kong origin.
Yeah. He's a player of Hong Kong origin, so that's why I tried to crack it, because I've tried to go one layer beneath that question. Mark Chapman is the answer, of course. He is a Hong Kong-born player, used to play for Hong Kong, then migrated to New Zealand because his father is a Queen's prosecutor there and started playing for New Zealand. Has played international cricket for New Zealand as well. Let's see who's got it, apart from me, of course. But let's see who's the winner. Who's the real winner? Tanmay Chakrabarti. After a while now.
Almost. Take out the M.
Yeah, Tanmay, we can share it. Come on. We can share it. Tanmay. मेरा नाम वैसे भी तन्मय ही बोलते हैं लोग सर. हाँ, बहुत लोग तन्मय, Tanya. And बहुत बार. Every new class that I went to in school, the first roll call was Tanya, and everyone looked around to find a new girl.
And then got
in the
disappointed.
Class. I'm highly disappointed.
I actually wrote a letter to the institute when I got my admission letter.
Yeah, I've heard the story. Yeah.
It was addressed to Ms. Harsha Bhogle, and I said, sorry guys, there's a guy coming here. So just chill over there. But you know, there's a very similar question, Joy, that you can put. If Tim David plays for Australia.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
I mean, he should. In my view, Tim David should walk into that Australian side.
Singapore, yeah, absolutely.
But similar thing from Singapore, yeah.
So we've given Joy another extra question for him to ask all of you again. And perhaps I'll be on that show and I'll crack that again. You know,
absolutely.
That's enough of gloating for the day. I think we'll wrap it up here. Thank you, Joyda. Thank you, Harsha, for joining us. Thank you to all of you as well for joining in. We'll see you, of course, in the game between Sri Lanka and Bangladesh tomorrow. Until then, it's a goodbye from all of us here at Cricbuzz Live. Good night.